Hey, trucked up guys and gals. Yeah, I'm a little bit rough around the edges. Had a rough end of May. I'm on the up and up, trying to recover, but I wanted to get some content out for you amazing folk. Didn't want to leave you high and dry, and there's a lot of content to cover. So it's not like I have a shortage, but right now, there's a lot going on with my Lightning, and a lot of other Lightning owners have reached out to me saying, what the hell's going on? We're going to talk about 3 things that Ford has pooched in the month of May. Not 1, not 2, 3. Oh yeah, there was that too. Never mind. We're going to dive into all of them because they're important. So strap yourself in. Let's get totally trucked up. As you know, I do a lot of things on the road, and I rely often on all of the different integrations of software to move me around. That's regarding charging networks, mapping, navigation, all of those different things come into play, and how they interact. All of those things are part of your experience of driving a vehicle. So we've seen this coming and going of different things with Ford over the past few years as they've tried to navigate exactly what they're doing, supposedly for the customer's benefit, for the user experience, to make all of this integrate. We always hear about the Blue Oval network. We always hear about BlueCruise. We always hear about, the ease of just plug and charge or plug and pay. So you charge up and you hit the road. You don't have to pull it on and have all these different apps. Everything's on that network. Sounds wonderful. And for all my American trucked up folk, I know that a lot of those things stand true. And I'm expecting some of these now are playing out in the United States as well, because I think a lot of these things have also been pooched where you're living. The first thing, it's got to be BlueCruise. Now, this is definitely more Canada specific. But if you take a look at these 2 maps, you take a look at the BlueCruise map, interactive map of where you can go and use BlueCruise in the United States. Looks pretty good until you pull up the Super Cruise map, and you can start to see how backwaters in the toilet Ford is with BlueCruise. They're not catching up. They're falling behind at a rapid rate. If you take a map from 2022 or 2023 and you compare it to the current BlueCruise map, there's not a lot of change. Whereas Super Cruise has exponentially expanded both in Canada and United States to the point where it's very usable in both countries. Not the case soon as you head over the 49th parallel into Canada. But there was a big announcement coming. So we were all happy because Ford was making this announcement about BlueCruise. Like, oh, finally, we're going to start to see some changes. Yeah, not really. So what they did is they decided to get the rates down close to what people in the United States are already paying for it by lowering the monthly subscription fee, by lowering the annual fee, and offering a one-time purchase of the system for the life of your truck kind of thing. Wow, that's exciting. We can now go out and use BlueCruise. No, we can't, because take a look at the frickin' map. Do you see any blue? Are you seeing any blue on this baby? It looks like all of those little strings were all tied together with blue cheese. And then someone released a rat. And it ate it all and just left little smidgens and bits and droppings here and there. That's BlueCruise in Canada. The Trans-Canada frickin' Highway. The way of driving across this entire frickin' nation, which is, by the way, the 2nd largest land mass on the planet for a country, okay? Most states will fit into, like, Vancouver Island. Never mind, like, BC, of Texas fits inside the damn thing. So we are huge. It's a huge country. And the main artery for moving across that country is the Trans-Canada Highway. And there's no BlueCruise. You can go almost 4,500 kilometers without finding any BlueCruise on the Trans-Canada freaking highway. If you go into the province of Saskatchewan, you have the wonderful joy of traveling for a grand total of 12 freaking minutes on BlueCruise if you're in the urban centers driving on a certain number of highways that don't have any access, egress, ingress thingies on them. So basically, it's a piece of crap. And that's even when it's operating, because when you get down to Ontario, Quebec, it does operate in New Brunswick. It does operate some in Nova Scotia. When you're in those areas and it's actually operating, it's not operating very well. It likes to read off ramps 60 kilometer an hour when you're on a 120 kilometer an hour road, and suddenly a 60 off ramp pops up, you're slamming the brakes on and everyone's driving into your bumper in the rear view mirror. Oh yeah, there is a safe system. Sure it is. But they'd like to offer it for a discount. Here, I got an idea. Blow me, okay? Go pound sand. Nobody should pay for this piece of junk. In fact, what Ford should be doing is saying, hey, I tell you what, thank you so much for us being able to round up that data and be able to expand the network, so we're going to offer it at no charge to Canadians. There's an idea, because you have nothing to sell them. So the other option, of course, naturally, is option B. That is to expand the frickin' map, so you can actually use BlueCruise. So much for that May announcement being a real whopper and such an enticement for us. Any Lightning owner in Canada that sees this is laughing their ass off. The only thing that this is attractive for is maybe people in Ontario or Quebec, maybe parts of New Brunswick. You know, there's certain core areas where BlueCruise would be a good thing to have. But for the vast expanse of this nation, it's completely non-existent. It's not that it's bad, it's not there. So that's number one. Number two, there used to be an effort to help us with charging, charge assist, features that were offered in the Ford Pass app, but is now being restricted to only the highest trim purchases. But even there, things are starting to change. And when I say change, I mean disappear. Services are just kind of being canceled. They're just kind of gone. And another example of that, in fact, we can call it number 3 or 2.5, because I got another one kind of buried in there, is the public charging button. So Ford added this public charging button that was actually kind of useful. And the reason it was useful is that it allowed you to plug and pay. You would go up to a charger, you would push the public charging button, or you would find the public charger by pushing the public charging button, and it would show you public chargers that were on that network or whatever your criteria were set inside the public charging settings. And you would push on that, and it would take you to all of the chargers in the area, and it would indicate whether they were plug and pay. And then you would see a little arrow off to the side that would give you a kilometer estimate to that with an arrow, click here for directions or, to navigate to it. That's where it fell apart. It just went to the internal navigation map that was blank, and it gave you a couple of token addresses that might be right according to where that charger might be. And if you click on them, you can see the problem already. It just set it as a destination, not a charger. So your vehicle doesn't precondition. The reason for it to even be there is completely stupid. It didn't work, but it still had a good part to it. And the good part was because the other part that I'm going to complain about was so bad. And that is the internal navigation map. We have the option down the screen of chargers. When we click on chargers, what comes up is all the local chargers. We can do it by any speed, limited over 50 kilowatt, or we can go to supercharged, like super fast, ultra fast, above 100 kilowatt speeds. But there's a sign of a little gap here. And the gap is Tesla superchargers, they haven't bothered in a year now to link them. So Tesla superchargers aren't linked to the navigation. So you cannot find a Tesla supercharger from the internal navigation. You can find it with the public charging button, however. Tesla superchargers will show up there. They won't link to your map. They won't navigate as a place to precondition because it's a charger, but at least you can find it. Nice. The two systems are basically divorced from one another. But in any case, in the public charging button, once you get to the Tesla supercharger, you can go into that and say, activate, and just hit activate once you plugged it in, and bang, you start charging. It's billed to your Ford wallet. You don't have to do anything else. Lovely. That's fantastic. So there's two things we were hoping to see. A, that finally Ford would add Tesla to the internal Find a Charger list, because Tesla now is part of the Find a Charger list. But it isn't. But what did happen was when we go back into the main menu and we look at our public charging button, they've turned it off. It's now gone. It says instead, looking for chargers? No, I clicked on public charging because I wanted to have a weenie roast. So now you've got this button that says find chargers. Guess where that directs you to? It directs you back to the internal navigation app that can't find any Tesla superchargers or basically anything else. So, waste of time for everyone. But it gives a lovely other message here. Charger activation. Remember, the joy of the public charging button was that you could activate and pay right from the comfort of the inside of your truck as you pulled up. It would say, are you at the charger? Are you here? You say yes. And it says, okay, which unit? Oh, 1C. Activate. Boom, everything's just tickety-boo. Gone. It's all gone. Now, charger activation is still available through the Ford Pass app on your cell phone. Tap on the public charging in the Energy tab, because all the other features that used to be there, like Trip Planner and all of the other things with Charge Assist, charger location, maps, all gone. Now you have to go into the Energy button. Then you go to public charging. Yeah, who thought this one through? Then you select your station and charger from the list, and then you activate the charging station. Does this sound convenient to you? And I really like to do this while I'm driving down the road with my smartphone and looking at my 15-inch screen and waiting for the police to pull me over before I run over the school children. This is stupid. This is completely dumb. It's a backtrack like I've never seen one. So now they're getting you to use a pared down, kind of useless Ford Pass app to activate something that you used to be able to instantly activate on your screen. That's all gone. The only thing that you can use now, if you are an F-150 Lightning owner or a Ford Mach-e owner, and you are wanting to plan out your trip, and you want it to automatically find chargers for you, and you don't have to worry about it. You know, the natural thing that everybody wants in any make, model, trim, whatever. That's what they want with an EV. They want to jump in, say, I'm going to Timbuktu. They put it in, boom, Bob's your uncle. It says, here's your plan, and it shows your charging stations, and you can even go in and expand the menu and look and say, oh, okay, I expanded it. That's where I'm going to be stopping. That's where I'm going to be stopping. Oh, those chargers are more expensive. Maybe there's another one. Fine, another one. You can do all of that through Android Auto, through the Google Maps thing, and it will identify every single one of your chargers on your screen as a charger destination. So every single one of those spots will precondition. So the only way right now for everything to work smoothly is to use Android Auto Google, because Ford's thrown in the towel. Ford's given up. Ford's obviously decided we can save buckets full of money by just outsourcing this out to Google. Hell with it. But the problem is they have an agreement with Tesla, and they've got an agreement with all of their network and providing these networks, the Blue Oval network, that you can just plug and pay. So the only way they can make it work now is to keep some little token on your Ford Pass app that's completely separate from all your navigation, either in Google or in the internal navigation system. This is such a disaster. This is the one thing that's now got me to the point where the next truck in my driveway may not have a blue oval on it. This is the one thing that really has hit me hard as far as owning this truck, because as you drive and you're doing long trips, you need to not have range anxiety. You need to not worry about these things. These things should be smooth as silk, as slick as butter, and none of it is. But it is getting there at GM. It's even getting there at VW. Remember their disastrous software fiasco that made international headlines in Europe with the ID3 and later with the ID4 in North America? Did it? Yeah, because it's terrible. But guess what? It's getting better and better and better. Even frickin' Electrify America is getting better and better and better. And the integration of the software is getting better. What about Hyundai or Hyundai or Hyundai or Hyundai or Hyundai? Because you've all given me your perspective, so I'm trying to cover all bases here. They're getting better. Kia's getting better. All of those systems are working well. Now, take a look at even what Toyota's doing. They're just nibbling. They're finally improving the BZ4X to now be the BZ. And it's a leap up. So they're now coming. They're now saying, okay, we better get into this game. Everyone is starting to understand how integrated software is, how important it is for one purpose and one purpose alone. the driver, to make it safer, more convenient, more carefree, that you can jump in your EV, put in a destination, and get there without worry. That is not happening right now with Ford. Hey, if you're having these problems, or you think I've gone off the deep end, you say, none of this is happening, man. I'm not having any of these problems. Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear all about it. Because is this regional specific? Is this only happening in Canada and not United States? I want to know. But I got to let you go because it's about to get dark and I'm sicker than a dog. So I got to get back to being under a bunch of covers with pillows. But I wanted to connect. I'm so grateful for you watching the channel. So if you want to know why I'm so grumpy, well, as I just said, I'm sicker than a dog. And number two is I've been grumpy ever since Jim Farley did a bit of an about face that started this. And now these are signs that he's not planning on changing direction. And he seems to be reversing course on EV adoption. And if you think I'm wrong, well, you want to check out this video right here that I did on good old Jimbo. Again, thanks for watching.